Hey, good evening, guys. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Okay, we are back to the regular way that we do things. We were on Zoom on Monday. I am back to being here in the group. Happy Wednesday, everyone. And if it is Wednesday and if it is 9:30, you're listening to or watching Unapologetically Keith. And every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30 to 10:30, I am on trying to bring to the table different things that can create crisis or have sustained crisis, and we take a look at it in an adult way so we are able to have conversations about it. And this is what we do. I am a crisis specialist, which many of you know. And so in doing that, I come to the table and bring everything that I have, my knowledge, my understanding, my experiences, in a way to try to create positive conversation. Hey, Toya. And this way we can try to have some fun. And if this is your first time, first of all, I'm going to wonder why it is your first time. But if this is your first time, please understand it goes down in the chat room. We have some folks here who, they don't be playing no games. And they will ask some questions and say some things. So it is what we do. And so as we give folks a chance to pop in, we're going to get started right away. I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Hey, Tiffany, how we doing? Is that I have been grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding and grinding. So I want you guys to keep me in prayer. I have an opportunity to work with the ATF. So would be working on a government contract. They reached out. I did and this is why, let me back up a second. This is why you guys have to remember when you hear people say, I don't do free. Please understand that you have to know why you're doing something for free, and it will return itself to you. I did a young lady's podcast twice. She asked me to come on and interview on her podcast for books and other stuff like that, but it wound up being a hodgepodge of different communications. I didn't know what she did for a living. I just know she wanted me to come on and have some conversation. She liked the way I interviewed. Turns out she worked for the government. And so we are now in the process of working out the particulars. I have to do a presentation. But if we can work this out, then we're looking at some pretty hefty dollars per month. With signing a contract, working with the ATF, counseling, and some other things. So there's always some return on your investment, especially when you get to practice what you do and practice what you love to do. And so we're going to keep our fingers crossed. And I was invited back to work with the local detention center. They wanted me to come back in because they're allowing folks to come into the facility. I said, nope, not at this moment. Thank you, Tiff. Not at this moment. I'm going to work from home. So they said, okay, no problem. So I work from home. I get to do my program from home via Zoom. And so they're signing up now. So we did the 8 to 10 weeks over the summer, and now it's the rest of the school year. So that's going to be pretty good. So we're looking pretty good going into the end of 2021. And of course, my counseling clients have picked up. And I'm working with a church out of Maryland who understood what I was saying about having mental health ministries. And again, you have to speak it into existence. And so I'm going to be working with members of their church. They're literally sending members to me, and we'll go there. And so that's another good thing. And as well as I'm still working with the kids. So I have 1, 2. So I'm trying to create the various ways that I can help people in doing what I do, sitting right here in my house. I don't have to go anywhere. I can sit right here and do this right here and get paid for what I do. And I just wanted to say that to you, not to brag, but to let you know that there's always a way to do things. And just because there is a virus, it doesn't mean that you cannot do some of the things that you like to do. You just have to tweak it. You have to turn it. You have to make it available. And so that's what I'm doing. And we'll see what happens. Yes, 10 jobs. Listen, that's what I'm shooting for. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Raven Publishing makes 6. I'm at 7 right now. I'm shooting for 10, Toya. I'm shooting for 10. I am shooting for 10. I have 7 streams right now. I'm shooting for 10. And the goal for me is to just have it all working at the same time. Now, like anything else, I have to sit down and make sure my timing and everything is great so I can do what I got to do. But it is a matter of putting things in place. So let me, I'm just waiting for my computer to boot up so I can see everybody that's coming in so I can greet everybody the right way. But this is what it is. And I just wanted to say that to you. More than halfway. Yes, I'm only a couple of streams left, and they're all at different price points too. So the government would be the largest one. So that's a major one. That's 5 figures. So we're gonna keep our fingers crossed. So it is what it is. So, but at the end of the, actually no, well yeah, that would be a higher 5 figure. The one with the detention center is 5 figures too. So it is what it is. But this is what it is, guys. Listen, you have knowledge, you have skills, you have education, you have things that people are willing to pay for. It's a matter of how you, hey Nikki, it's a matter of how you put it together, how you present it, and how much quality you can bring to somebody else's life. And that's my biggest thing, is that I literally want to help people. And because I'm committed to helping people, my businesses, both of them, are centered on helping people. Then you have a way to be able to present that where people can see it. And then, of course, I'm always in a constant state of learning. That was my biggest commitment when this COVID thing started in March. And I said that some time ago, that if you have taken this time out since March and haven't made yourself better in a particular area, then this virus has harmed you in 2 ways. And that's what you got to do with that time that you have at home. Hello, Ebony, and we're going to get started in a few minutes, guys. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you simply because, guys, we have to provide, and we pray and we move. But trust me. Hey, Michelle, hope you're feeling better today, Michelle, because I know you're a little under the weather on Monday. Hope that you're feeling good. And this is what we do. And, you know, moves have to be made, guys. And I share all that with you simply because we can do a lot more than we give ourselves credit for, because if God is limitless, then why are we? Because God wants to see his children do well. I know we talk about it, but when it's a matter of committing to doing it, it is something that the game changes, as well as the people that are connected to you change as well, simply because you just can't travel to every level with everybody. But when you sit and pay attention to it, all of a sudden, you're right where you need to be at. So I just wanted to share that with you. So we're going to try to end 2020 very, very strong. And I got some tap dancing to do because I got to make some people like what I do. And every opportunity, even free, is an opportunity to practice. So it's not free. It is an opportunity to work on your craft. And believe it or not, if worked the right way, it turns into profit later on. Just because you're not getting paid for that time, they now have given you exposure to their people. And if you work that, turn that into something, it can actually turn into something. Great to hear, Michelle. Great to hear. I'm feeling a little, I think I'm going to do a 7-day fast. I think I'm going to give up meats for about 7 days, 10 days. I think I'm just going to go liquid for about 10 days and do some heavy meditation and prayer. I'm not sure yet. I'm going to debate on what type of fast. So tonight, guys, tonight, we talk about why it feels so damn or darn hard to love yourself sometimes. And I was doing some research tonight, and as I always do, I try to find different sites or different things. And I was having a conversation with a friend, and I was trying to get her to, I was explaining to her what I see in her and what she allows the world to see. And I was explaining how the two are not lining up. So I had her do a personality test to show her how powerful she is in her mind, where she is compared to what she's allowing the world to see. And that's one of the anchors for what I do when I do my private counseling. I want people to understand or see where they are with themselves, and then we have some things to work on. Not that you're trying to put on for people in the public, but if you take off some of your talents or you cover up your talents when you go into public, you're actually harming yourself. And somebody in the world needs to be able to hear who you are. What's going on? What's up, Keith? with daily Zoom classes at work, school, and other things. I need a break. I'm okay. I got you, bro. Listen, mental and physical and spiritual breaks are needed in this time of the world, in this time of creation. And I know this because I noticed that my counseling clients have started to increase because there are a lot of people struggling in the mental health and spiritual health areas and physically, because a lot of folks are just not going out because they don't want to bother, or they can't go where they used to go, so they don't want to adopt new things. And I understand it. Trust me, I'm going through it too. So those quarantine pounds have kicked in, mental instabilities in some cases, just being frustrated with the numbers of death and everything else. And then the spiritual part as well. And it doesn't mean religious part. Spiritual part meaning just the balance inside your soul that allows you just to be able to feel that you are something inside this whole world. And believe it or not, there's a lot of people struggling with that right now. So here we go, guys. So what we're going to talk about tonight is the reasons why you think it's so hard to love yourself. So I'm going to give you only five tonight. But I figured it'll give us something to talk about tonight, to have some conversation. So if you're ready, let's get this started. Put a 1 up in the chat room. Let's go to the first one. Put a 1 up in the chat room, and let's get it going. 5 reasons why it feels so darn hard to love yourself. Now, are they guaranteed ways? Are they the perfect ways? Are they the only ways? Not at all. Just 5 that I gathered from my research. Lord, there was a lot more. But I always have to take into account that, 1, we only have an hour, even though we go over an hour. But also to give you guys an opportunity to have some fun with it if it's something that I think there's some meat to it, as well as to give me a chance to actually have, because I don't always agree with the research that I find. Okay, I see the number 1. Here we go. Thank you, T to the Y. Thank you, Toya. How's the cats, Toya? Toya had cats roaming all over the place on Monday in Zoom. She got cats and a baby. She had it going on. All right, here we go. Amy's here. Hey, Amy. Okay, here we go. Number 1, we are told that self-care equals self-love. We are told self-care equals self-love. Self-love is not created by treating yourself to a regular massage, candles in a tub, taking a yoga class, to round out the edges of a jagged day. Those are self-care activities. Those are self-care activities. And if you feel guilty or selfish spending time and money on yourself, you end up feeling worse and less lovable in the long run. When you love who you are, you don't need a list of reminders of when and how to take care of yourself. Exactly, Amy. That's exactly what I'm getting at. And that's the reason why I wanted to take some time. Yeah, right behind you. That's what I'm getting at, Amy, is that when you really love yourself, you will do the things that are necessary for you to take care of yourself. You don't have to go through. I wonder why my phone keeps doing that. Okay, there we go. That extra light there. Oh, okay. But you don't have to do that. And you know that you deserve to be cherished, first by you, then the others that are around you. And I think we have to make sure that we're not getting confused that self-care activities are self-love. No, it's good that you chose to go get a massage, and it's good that you went out for a jog and went out for a nice walk. It's sometimes hard when you're ripping and running all the time. Yes, it's true, Toya. But you always have to make time for yourself. Hey, Kim, you always have to make time for yourself. And even if it's just carving out a couple of minutes. Now, I'll give you an example. One of the movies that I use when I'm counseling is The Pursuit of Happiness, right? Will Smith is walking you through a timeline of things that was going on in his life. And he's like, this period of time right here is called chasing, and this period of time is whatever. But if you pay attention to the movie, and again, if you haven't watched it in a while, I would applaud you too. Hey, Kim, at the very end, he says, this time right here, this little piece of time is happiness. Now, the reason why that's very important is because he says this little piece of time here. He didn't say, I found happiness, I'm good for the rest. He said this little time here. Now, because we watched the movie, get to see what he went through. to get to that little piece of happiness. We know he went through hell. That's why if you back it up just a couple of minutes before, when the man is offering him the job and he says, was it easy? And he goes, no, sir. And you see the tear run down his cheek. We get to know what Will Smith went through to be in that position to get that job. He went through a free internship while he was fighting with trying to figure out where to sleep, where to eat, and all of that. But the point that I'm getting at is that small piece of happiness. So we have to create that happiness for ourselves the best way we can. And it has to come from how we take care of ourselves. If you take care of others, you know you should take care of yourself. Yes, but most people, Michelle, that's how they actually avoid it. They will claim, and I've been a victim of this myself. They will claim that they have to focus and be all these things to other people while neglecting themselves, because it gives them an excuse to not have to focus on an area that's wrong with themselves. It's called being a public success and a private failure. Because often many people will let the world believe that they got it going on, and they will be ridiculous in terms of helping other people while everything in their life is falling apart. And I know that to be true because I've dealt with folks when I'm counseling who in counseling sessions are falling apart. But as soon as they hit the door, they got the world thinking everything is great. And it's very important that we pay attention to that, because we could be in that state at different times. And for some of us, we're in that state on a regular basis. So you need to know the difference between self-care and self-love. No one should have to tell you. You shouldn't have to schedule. You'll know the schedule. You don't need the reminder. I got to take care of me. I just said that. I'm sitting at debate now what I'm going to do. I've made some changes over this COVID thing. I've been reading more. Me and a friend from Italy and a friend from Canada have been exchanging different book ideas. And I'm on book number 15, 16 or something like that in the last couple months. True, but some people do not care of themselves by pleasing others because they do not want to reflect. That's what I'm talking about, T to the Y. Is that, again, it's a way, and subconsciously, you're right, Toya, it is a way to actually not have to focus on themselves. And we got to get away with that. True self-care is self-care. The activity that you choose to care for yourself is on you. Meditating is self-care. I meditate all the time. I just sit down, close my eyes, and I get into a communal place with the Lord. Do I need to do it more? Yes. Do I need to practice more self-care? There's always room for more self-care. But you have to make sure you don't get addicted to it. But it's harder than we realize because it takes an honest commitment to self. Because much of what we know is not much of what we do. Now, I'm going to say that again. Much of what we know doesn't necessarily mean it's much of what we do. Many of us know what's right and what's wrong, but yet we choose to do what feels good at the time, which could be 100% wrong. All right. Pretty good. Pretty good. So let's move on to number 2, guys. Put a number 2 up in the chat room so we can move on. Unless anybody has anything else they want to say on number 1, by all means, toss it up into the chat room. If not, we're going to move on to number 2. Throw a number 2 up in the chat room as we get ready to move on. And you're watching Unapologetically Keith every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9:30 to 10:30. What is self-love? Self-love is a person focusing on what they need to care for themselves, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Katisha, that's what I would call self-love, is when you take care of yourself physically, spiritually, and emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and taking the time out to make sure that your needs, your love needs are met internally first, because no one can love you until you love yourself. So I hope that answers the question. All right, moving on to number 2. Here we go, guys. Number 2. We have profound belief that self-love is the same as being selfish or egotistical. Now, this is not everybody, but some. I'll read it again. We have a profound belief that self-love is the same as being selfish or egotistical. That's a crazy catch-22 when it comes to loving yourself. Where it is, when you Google self-love, there is a new definition that seems to be healthy, empowering, and doable, or so it seems. But then there's the old belief sneaks in. This is the old belief that backed our generations would automatically pass down like our DNA. Okay. With some generations, the belief that a snowball gains momentum, this means self-love seems bad. Okay. This one makes self-love seem bad, and this is why it's impossible to truly want to achieve it deep. I don't believe all that. I simply, with this one here, is that some people will feel uncomfortable or even feel that it's selfish or egotistical if they focus just on themselves instead of others. Self-love is a must. If it is selfish, so be it. You have to be happy for it. Yes, that's the reason why some people feel that it's selfish or egotistical, because a person is taking care of themselves. You must take care of you first. When you're on an airplane, all of us that used to fly before COVID, and you guys who are still flying before COVID, what do they tell you if the mask drops down to do what? Hey, Maggie, how we doing, love? What do they tell you to do? Put your mask on first. They say before you can help anybody else, put your mask on, because you can wind up dying trying to help somebody else because you did not help yourself. So self-love has to be somewhat selfish, because I gotta make sure I'm good. Now, that doesn't mean I can't enlist help. Hell yeah, I'm gonna ask for help from my wife, because there might be some things that I need help with, but I have to initiate inside me first. It starts with you. It comes from you. Now, once you figure out you need help, well, then you go to those who can help you. Case in point, if you deem that self-love is I need to lose some weight, okay, getting a trainer is selfish, but it's understanding you need that resource. Or you enlisted somebody, a nutritionist, to write a diet for you. Okay, but it still had to initiate you reaching out to the nutritionist. I know when raising my girls, I would feel guilty if I did something for myself rather than for my kids. I had to learn to care for myself to be better able to care for others. You know, parents put a lot of pressure on themselves, Michelle, and all those years I worked in school, I would have to sit down and say to some parents, it's okay to take care of you. You're doing a good job with your kids. You're not hurting your kids by taking care of you. Now, if you buy fancy sneakers for yourself and your children's feet are rubbing against the ground with the holes in theirs, I would kind of go, what's that? But doing for you to be happy, which is going to help you, hey, Leslie, which is going to help you do for them, is not a bad thing. Because most of the time, if you're a well-rounded parent, you're going to take care of you, and then what are you going to do next? You're going to take care of your children. Kim says, I had to move to across the country, Fresno, for my own self-love. Nothing wrong with that, Kim. We miss you, by the way, too, Kim. But I definitely understand, Kim. And you know what's funny? Kids will try to make you feel guilty because they're under pressure of what they see from other kids in school. But when it's balanced, when you and your kids have a real good open communication, you can say, it's real simple. Daddy and mommy's doing for them, but that's not affecting what I do for you. And you don't always have to do for your children the way you do for you if they're well kept. Please understand that. You work. They don't. So if they are fed and they are clothed and they have some form of entertainment, I don't care if I give them a rock and a stick and say, knock that bag around in your room for a little while. If you have shelter and you have food and your basic necessities are covered, okay. Now, if I decide to get you some games, some toys, something fancy, you got to earn that. So again, it's a great teachable moment, but that still doesn't mean that you neglect yourself. Now, hats off to all of the mothers and fathers out there who understand, who will take the losses of themselves so their kids can have in particular arenas. I always tip my hat to that, especially the mothers. All of you mothers who've had to do it by yourself. I came up with a single mother, and I know things that my mother put off for herself that she did for me and my sisters, and I respect it. Now, I was too young to truly understand what that was like. As I got older, we did. But at the end of the day, you still have to take care of you. You still have to treat you. Even if it's just that bottle of wine on a Friday and that's what you needed, get that wine. Get that wine if that's what you really want, if that's what you need. Now, if your kids need, and it's a choice of what your kids need, and it's a kid of the wine, then do for your kids. I'm not here to dictate to anybody how they should raise their children. I'm just simply saying taking care of you is not a selfish thing. It just means you understand you got to take care of you. I'm not saying don't take care of your kids because you take care of you. I'm saying it's okay to take care of you and then take care of your children. And if you can do both, do both. But do not let it turn into where people want you to feel bad that it's selfish or egotistical. Because you got people who will pour out so much into their kids and leave nothing for themselves. And then that's where they are, empty. Get the kids in bed and get sloshed. It depends on how old the kids are, Michelle. Because if they're young, you might have to listen out for them. You don't want to do that and be, you didn't hear the kids. When they get to a certain age, go ahead and close that door and tap that bottle. Do your thing. I'm not opposed to that. And there's nothing wrong with a glass of wine. You know, now you're sitting there drinking the hard stuff. In the middle of the week, you might need to set a session with me. We might need to talk. Because Jack Daniels on a Wednesday evening at 7 might not be the best thing. All right, so anybody else with that? And that was number 2. We have a profound belief that self-love is the same as being selfish or egotistical. Not with a toddler. Exactly, Toy. That's what I was getting at. You want to be sloshing your baby in there. Because I remember that night KL was choking. Oh, man. That was critical. And Tiff, that's not her thing. So I was like, move. I got this. And my mother had taught me long before I had kids. I had to put my mouth over her nose and her mouth and suck out that stuff that was in there. And it was horrible. It didn't taste good. But if that's what it was going to take to save my baby's life, didn't even hesitate. Because my mom taught me, being a nurse, but she taught me that on a regular. If you ever hear your daughter choke, you ever hear your children choking, this is what you do. So when I heard her, and I was like, well, what's that? And I came from the other room. And Tiff was like, try to move, get out the way. I didn't put the BITCH there, but I moved. First, I turned her over, patted on her back. When that didn't work, I put my mouth down over her nose and her mouth as I was taught, and I pulled out what was in there, cleaned out her mouth, and she still was kind of wheezing a little bit, and then we called the ambulance. But this is what you got to do. So I would say if you got a toddler, you might want to hold off on getting sloshed. Now, when you drop them off at daycare, if you're a stay-home mom, or you home during the day, you drop them off at daycare, or if you know you got some time at lunch, you want to have a liquid lunch, if you got that type of job, hey, listen, who am I to judge? All right, we're going to move on to number 3, guys. Party time. There you go. And all y'all with toddlers know what that means. They go to sleep. Let's go. We got about a hot 30 minutes. Getting it in the living room, kitchen, wherever else you can get it. See, when you have kids, you have little ones, you start realizing that. Don't worry about shaving the legs, let's go. Say that for the weekend, the party time, but y'all know. All right, number 3. Number 3. Put a number, there you go. There you go. You got to get it in where you can. Get it in where it fitted. All right, number 3, guys. Number 3. Moving on. And again, all the new folks, I see a couple of new names here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you tuned in tonight to Unapologetically Keith. I appreciate you spending some time with us. Do not be scared to jump in the chat room. They do not bite. Make yourself a regular here. Go ahead and jump in. If you want to respond to anything that somebody says, by all means, just be respectful. This is a respectful place. We do not disrespect each other here, but we do and we can have varying viewpoints. There's nothing wrong with that. We are adults. We are intellectual adults, so it's okay to not agree with what somebody said, but we're not starting no arguments here. That will get you deleted because there's no reason to argue. Just I don't agree and leave it alone. You should be watching me anyway. All right, here we go. Number 3. I see the number 3s. Let's keep it going, guys. All right, number 3 on the list of 5 reasons why it feels so damn hard to love yourself. Here we go. Number 3. There is a myth that you have to have a certain need met in order to feel lovable. There is a myth that you have to have a certain need met in order to feel lovable. You have 4 basic psychological needs, and everything you do is getting one or more of them met. There is a connection, significance, variety, certainty. Okay? There is a connection to something, a significance to something, a variety of something, and a certainty with something. You may be unknowingly given responsibilities of getting them met to someone else. For example, expecting a man to make you feel connected, expecting a woman to make you feel connected, expecting a boss to acknowledge your significance. This allows your opinion, approval, or acceptance to determine your value. So again, it just simply means you have to find the connection, the significance, the variety, and the certainty in your things for yourself. Often we will look outside of ourselves for those things, and we look for our acceptance, we look for our significance, we look for our variety in other people. You don't have to do that. Okay? It is a myth that you have to have certain needs met in order to feel lovable. No. Again, you can love yourself despite the circumstances that you're in. You create the connection. The connection comes to you. The significance comes from you. The variety and the certainty come from you. And again, a lot has to be with how well do you know yourself and how honest with you. How many of us have stood in the mirror and been brutally honest and then did something about it? See, it's one thing to go, God, I need to lose some weight, and then go buy a pizza. It's another thing to say, I need to take it easy with these chicks out here, and then call up and plan 3 different sessions this week with 3 different women. It's another thing to say, I need to take it easy and just get with one man, and all of a sudden you got the booty call coming over. Thank you for putting your hand up, Maggie, for looking in that mirror, because I think the idea is that we have to look at all the things. When we talk about our finances, when we look at all the things that we're connected to, thank you, Toya, we have to make sure that we're being brutally honest with ourselves. That's another reason why I use the personality profile assessments that I do, is because the information comes from you. The questions are set. You answer them based on your feelings. And then it separates them into 2 different categories. How you see you and how you think the world sees you. I just simply help you interpret it so we can have a starting point, a foundation to work on. And often I notice that when I share that with people, a lot of times they're pleasantly shocked with what they see in themselves, and then when they see the difference in how the world sees them. So we all should be comfortable, even if it makes us unhappy. Unhappiness is okay, as long as it doesn't turn into depression. But we all have to be comfortable enough to look in the mirror and look at the good and the bad and then do something. You water what works. If you're doing something good, keep at it. If you know you need to make some changes, fight with yourself, get the help that's necessary. Once you acknowledge it, getting help is not a bad thing. I know, because I ask people all the time, if you're in pain, come to me. Come to me. This is what I do. And I do it for a living, which means I spend all day, every day figuring out ways to help people deal with what's wrong with them. So what does that mean I have to do first and foremost? I have to start with me. And when I looked at my own profile, yes, I took my own personality test. Ouch. It stepped on my toes. When I looked at it, I was like, ugh. And then I had to be brutally honest with myself. I said, have I seen that? Yes, I had. And it's cost me some opportunities, or I didn't succeed where I should have. I personally don't feel like I'm as successful as I could be. Now, some people would say, you're very successful. Again, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Everybody has their own perception. I don't feel like I'm as successful as I could be. But I rock with what I have. I'm okay. But I know that there's a lot of opportunities I let go because I just didn't focus like I should. So I push hard on myself now. And I have to be careful that I don't grind myself too hard. And I'm not hard on myself on what I did. I'm hard on myself to get things done. But you got to be careful, because that line is very thin and you can slip backwards, and it's a steep slope to depression. You start heading backwards where you start trying to fix what you can't fix and looking at the past. You can slide right into unhappiness, to uncomfortableness, to depression. Because you start looking at what you cannot fix and what you failed at, and all of a sudden you can't see where you currently are. Very careful not to do that. Because with self-love, also have to become self-aware. And you got to be very, very careful that in your self-awareness, you don't start to beat yourself up for failures. And we all do it in some form or fashion. The hardest thing that people have to learn is how to let go. They know they need to, but you have to learn how to let go. And it starts with being able to departmentalize memories where you go, I'm going to put that back here. I know it's there, but I'm going to go forward. I know I screwed up back then, but I'm going to focus on today. I know I shouldn't have ate that cake. Why'd I eat that? I'm not going to eat any more cake. So you have to listen to how you speak to yourself. Cannot dwell on what you could have been, no better than you You do better. Yes, know better, do better. But you have to commit to your right now. Right now is the echoes of whatever happened before. I had to learn to stop being. Yes, we all do, Toya. Thank you for being honest. You're right now, all of us right now watching this together. Where you are right now are the echoes of what you did before. Now, what you send into the future is what you do right now. So the past is just a learning opportunity. But if you dwell in it, here's the thing. Reach your hands. I want everybody, look, take your hands. I want you to reach your hands out like this, right? Reach your hands out. Straight, reach your hands out. Now, here's what I want you to do. I want you to reach to the left and to the right at the same time and tell me how far you get. Here's your hands. Do this with me, right? I want you to stick your hands out. Stretch them wide. Stretch them wide. And I want you to reach to the left and the right at the same time. And, okay, see you later, Tone. Good to have you here. Get some rest. And I want you to reach out at the same time. You know what's going to happen? You're not going to move anywhere. Because you can't go right and left at the same time. You're pulling against yourself. So all that's going to happen is you're going to stay in the same place. That's what it's like with going back to the past. You cannot look back in the past and try to go in the future at the same time. You can look back at the past and learn from it, gather the information from it, and then take your behind forward and use it. If a general sits around and complains and worries about why he lost the battle, while he's still in battle, he's probably going to lose the battle the war that he's in. But if he learns from that battle and says, okay, that's over with, we lost that, now let's go forward, now you got a shot. And again, it's something that we have to stay focused on, because self-love is pivotal. It needs that. Self-love needs to be in the moment. I teach mindfulness therapy. Mindfulness therapy is the understanding of how to deal in the moment. If you want to look up the Carl Jung theory, habits of mind. Habits of mind is the ability to focus on the things that are going on right now and being able to intertwine that. Carl Jung, J-U-N-G, Carl Jung theory. We call it Carl Jung, but it's not. Some people say Jung. It's not Jung. It's Carl Jung. Habits of mind. Good read, or just look up. All you got to do is look it up in Google. So look up habits of mind, and you'll see a whole philosophy behind it. It was one of the anchors of my master's degree, my first master's degree in education. And then now with therapy, I use mindfulness therapy. I teach people how to stay in the moment. I teach people how to go, but right here, right now, what are you doing? Today, what are you doing? Okay, yeah, I heard what you said yesterday. I got that. But what are you doing right now? Yeah, no, I don't want to talk about yesterday. What are we doing right now? So how will that affect tomorrow? Well, I don't know exactly. So you need to do something today. Tomorrow never comes and tomorrow's over. Yesterday's over. All you have is right now. I understand I was made to feel like I wasn't enough or that anything I did was wrong. Yes, people attempt to make you feel that way, Leslie, but the way that you counter that is by focusing on you. You have to be the greatest cheerleader you have ever heard in here. You have to get up and affirm yourself. So no matter what somebody says to you, then you are on top of what's going on. That's how you counter that. That's how you get back where you are. You have to breathe life into yourself when somebody else is attempting to take it away from you. And that's where morning affirmations are extremely important. Morning affirmations, as well as when you go to bed at night, whether you pray like I do, praying and thanking and doing the things you need to do is one thing. That's the only way I survived my childhood. Yes, there you go. But the idea is that you literally have to just give yourself those opportunities. You have to dig in and make sure that, again, you are your biggest cheerleader. You hear people say it all the time. You can't love anybody else if you don't love yourself. Well, that love has to come with a protection of yourself, too. You don't give yourself to somebody else to the point that when what their words say to you tear you down greater than your words. Okay, you may not love me, but the rest of the world is waiting on me. It's going to sound arrogant. You may think I'm whatever, but the rest of the world loves me, and I'm out there looking for them. And you got to literally start to become that, feel that. Yeah, people call me arrogant. Yeah, sometimes people call me vain. Yeah, sometimes I get on people's nerves. You know what? I still love me, and I'm good with it. And I say I'm okay with people not liking me. It's okay. You know why? They leave you alone. I don't have a problem with people. I don't care what people say about me. Go ahead. That's why when people read my book, they go, oh, you was disgusting. Yeah, I was. I say it all the time. So, love the man I am now, or you can have issue with who I was. I'm not losing no sleep over it, as long as you don't disrespect me. Because then if you disrespect me, I got to let you go, because then I might actually put these hands on you. I ain't perfect, and I ain't no saint. So I'm going to let you go before I have to lay hands on you. And not the type of biblical hands that some folks are expecting. Ain't going to be no oil. You don't want these type of hands laid on you. They're not laying hands on you like this in the church. Trust me when I tell you. Yes. Try Jesus, not me. Oh, I love that song. Try Jesus, not me. Because I lay hands. That's my song. Try Jesus. Don't try me, because I lay hands. Oh, my gosh. Tony says, let me go back. Tony says, I have to stay focused. Number one, work is so competitive. I work in sales, and I feel I'm not doing my best. Number two, my son committed murder straight from the Navy, and at times I blame myself. Didn't know he was on drugs. Oh, I got to see the rest of that. Oh, so I'm not getting the whole thing. All right, let me look at it this way. Tony, I know you mentioned that before, Tony. Here's the thing, and I know I was in sales at one point when I worked for John Hancock. No matter how competitive it is, you still have to just make sure you're where you need to be. Were you able to knock down the sales that you came across? And then what are you doing in terms of being able to secure other sales? So even though it's competitive, you're only really competing with yourself, because you can't stop anybody from the sales that they make. And they're going to go out and make sales. For you, and what I used to do, I was number 3 in my office as a new agent. And when people used to wonder why I was doing so well, it was because I never focused on 1 and 2. I just focused on, am I doing everything I need to do? Meaning that if I had 12 clients, how many of those 12 did I knock down and make the sale? If I sold 8, then I sit down and think, what could I have done, differently for the other 4? And so then I go from there. All these people wanting to join after the show started. Guys, listen, you know what? Let me see what we got going on here. Let me let these folks in. All right, there we go. They got to start getting here earlier. All right, so that was my thing there. Now, the second part, Tony, listen, as a parent, it's very difficult. And as a parent, when children go out and do things, but I can tell you this part. I don't know about the murder part. My daughter, in 2007, committed a crime and put it on. There you go. Listen, listen, you in the top 5. My daughter committed a crime in 2007 on the A train in Brooklyn, and it was on the news, and everybody was trying to wonder where those kids are. I was the father that turned her in because I knew she knew better. And I said every day I walk into a school and tell children what's the right thing to do, that I wasn't going to turn my back on my own daughter and act like I didn't see her commit a crime. So I called her first, and I told her, what did I just see? And she gave me some cockamamie story about how the guy tried to do XYZ to her. And I said, well, I'm going to go back and watch the video myself again. I watched the video 3 times. And when I realized that my daughter was BSing me, I said, listen, you're going to have to just... She said, Daddy, whatever you need me to do. I said, okay. And I said, well, I'm going to turn you in. Her mother hated me, and half of New York was split. If you ever want to watch the video, go to YouTube and look up A-Train Beatdown. Yeah, A-Train Beatdown. The little girl in the front with the big door knocker earrings doing the most of the talking is my daughter. And then her and some other young ladies practicing alternative lifestyle decided to beat up the man, and I was the father that turned her in. And what I found is that some people thought I was a snitch and some people thought I was a stand-up father. Here's the thing. I didn't care. The thing was that day, earlier that day, I had just told a little girl who was at a cut party, I was a dean, I said, you got to call your mom and tell her that you didn't have sex at that cut party. She said, my mom is going to beat my behind. I said, your mom's going to beat your behind anyway. But you need to let her know that you weren't doing what those other little girls are doing. She needs to hear that from you, not from me. She needs to know that her daughter wasn't doing the things that she thinks her daughter was doing. Yes, you're going to take the beating for cutting. But when in doubt, do what's right. Now, how am I going to tell a little girl at middle school and then I act like I didn't see my daughter commit a crime on YouTube, on television, on the news? And some people to this day still don't speak to me, and it's okay. Even my daughter and I, our relationship is not what it could have been And not what it could be, but it's there. And we're working on it. But it's okay. She's 30 years old now, and it is what it is. So what I'm saying is we all have to make decisions, but I don't beat myself up over it, Tony. That's what I'm getting at, is that I pray for her, and I leave that door open. Remember the prodigal son. Our children are going to make decisions that are not necessary reflections of us. And if it is, we can't beat ourselves up. We just have to learn from it because we can't change it once it's done. You give them all the love that you can give them now. You give them all the prayers that you can pray for them now, and pray that somehow he finds it. Because remember, Joseph was in jail 17 years and was able to do his thing in jail. And he didn't even commit a crime. I got you, love. And it's hard, but this is part of what we do. But if you beat yourself up, you may actually miss something that's necessary when that moment comes because you're not focused on just doing what you can. So I'm glad that that helps. And again, guys, self-love is self-awareness. You have to be able to be aware of the things that are missing, that are keeping you from loving yourself. And then you have to be brutally honest with yourself, guys. So again, we have some new folks that have come into the room or joined the group. I don't know if they're actually watching the show or not. So I simply want to say welcome to everybody that has joined. If you're new, by all means, I am Keith K.L. Belvin. You're watching Unapologetically Keith every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9:30 to 10 o'clock. I am glad that you're here. We cover a little bit of everything here Monday through Friday. And by all means, jump in and share your thoughts. By all means, the chat room is open. We like to keep it respectful, so please share your thoughts, but be respectful of those if you're commenting back to somebody that has responded. But this is where we have our conversations here. Leslie says, "Well, say that I have a great guy who loves me for me, and I try to love myself too." See, the key word I have a problem with there, Leslie, is I try. You were confident in the earlier part. I have a great guy, but then you said I'm a try to love myself. Turn that around. I have a great guy, and I am going to love myself. And when you put those two together, you are on point. Be mindful of what we breathe into what we say about ourselves. Words have power. Hitler said, tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth, because one's perception of the truth becomes their reality. Always be mindful of how you speak about yourself and, of course, how you speak about others. But be mindful of it, because if we speak not so sure into ourselves, we actually become not so sure, and it is very important. Welcome, Salvatore. Good to have you here. So it is very important that you just change that little bit there, Leslie, because you have a great guy from what I've seen, and you are a great individual, and the two of you are going to go on to some great things. So do not reduce yourself into saying try. You are bigger than a try. You are a great person. Hear yourself say it. It is very important. You heard me say earlier, affirmations. Affirm what you are. Tell the world. Damn it, the world going to have to deal with me today. Every day I walked into a classroom, when that bell rang, I said showtime. Because it was time for me to put on for those kids. They didn't have to know what I was going through at the time because they're not there for that. So every time the bell rang, showtime. And right now, before I get on a Zoom call, I say showtime. I said it tonight, showtime, because this is what it is. I do this counseling thing for real. I'm not some cat just saying, hey, check me out. This is what I do. I'm here to actually lift the feelings of people and uncover some things. And I can't ask you to uncover your dirt, and I'm not ready to hold that or hold your hand through that. Michelle says, my parents raised us the same. If we were doing wrong, we had to face. Yeah, we had. Listen, own what you did wrong. Own your mistakes. Because I wrote From Gigolo to Jesus so nobody could come back later and say, Tiff, do you know how nasty your man was? How could you marry him? Tiff wrote the foreword. So what you going to come at me about when I done already put it in a book? When I done already said how nasty I was? What power you got over me? None. I wake up every day and dare the world to come at me because I'm ready. And I have learned not to beat myself up. I beat myself up when I can't get something done today. I'm like, oh my God, I had a ton of stuff to do today. I got through most of it. Okay, I'll finish the rest tomorrow. And I always say, God willing, because we're not promised tomorrow. That's another reason why you should live for today. Now, for all my Bible fans out there, the Bible says, no man or woman knoweth the time that the Lord is coming back. Just like no man or woman know the time that they're going. So you got to live every day. Rock out. 190,000 people no longer here because of this virus. You think they thought 2020 was going to be the year that they weren't seen anymore? I am dealing with 41 people who are dead and over 40, now I counted up, 40 that I know of that have the coronavirus or recovering from it. So that's 80 people affected by this monster. You think they knew that they were going to have to deal with that this year? No. Live for today. So again, okay, let's get ready to move on, guys. Number 4. Put a 4 up in the chat room and we're going to move on. Let's kill these last 2. Have some fun with it. Salvatore, I see the hand waving. My man, welcome, welcome, welcome. It goes down in the chat room, Salvatore, by all means. Post your thoughts. This is why we're here. Let's put that number 4 up, guys. Let's move on. Come on. Put a number 4 up in the chat room. There we go. Thank you, Toya. Thank you, Michelle. Let's go. And again, you are watching Unapologetically Keith every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9:30 to 10:30. And this is where it goes down. Okay, we got enough number 4s. Let's move on. Here we go. You may have feelings of being unloved rooted in past experiences. Okay, of course, your past experiences influence how you feel about yourself, but wait, there's more. Old, outdated beliefs are only self-saboteuring elements. Okay, you may have feelings of being unloved, which is rooted in past experience. We just talked about that. I knew it was coming up. That's why I started talking about it. Many of us are disliking certain things about ourselves because of past experiences. And I say to folks when I'm counseling, do not allow someone who hurt you 10 years ago to continue to hurt you now. They're not hurting you now. You are hurting you. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm minimizing that person hurting you. They hurt you. But if you are still allowing them to hurt you 10 years later, they have now reached into your future and are hurting you right now. So let's go back and deal with that so we can sever that and bring ourselves back to this moment right here and go, F them, we're here, let's go. Because many of us do not allow love to take its place because we have something else. Love and hate cannot occupy the same place. Just like light and dark cannot occupy the same space, it is impossible. One will absorb the other or destroy the other. You cannot have love and hate in the same place. And it is very important that you understand that, because most folks don't want to agree, don't want to accept that. So then they try to hide it in the way that they dress and the way that they move, and they tell a lot of jokes. Here's what I want you to pay attention to. Folks who joke about themselves but tear themselves down. Oh, I know I'm an ugly bitch. You ain't got to tell me. I already know. I know I'm a fat dude. You ain't got to tell me. I already know. You know, I'm fat, right? Like, and you have to actually literally tell them, don't be so hard on yourself. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. No, they're not. No, they're not. And because women are more emotional than men, I have a very astute ear because I mostly work with women more than I do men. And I listen for very little subtle things that let me know that you're tearing at yourself. No, I won't allow that. And I'm going to find a compliment for you if can't nobody else find one. Even if you say, look at me, what could you find that's positive about me? I'm like, you breathing, right? You breathing, right? And as Snoop said, if you breathing, you achieving. Because you can always turn around any situation as you're in as long as you have life. And I used to tell this to my students, there's somebody in the hospital right now grasping for air, praying that they can get one more breath. And you mad because you don't like the way you look, but you got full lungs? Come on now. You mad because your barber, you can't get to your barber, so you got a little more gray hair? You got a face to touch. Way to go, T to the Y. But you got to be careful because comedians are tortured souls. It's what makes their comedy relevant. But you got to listen to some person when they tear themselves down. Don't allow it. There is death. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And often we will speak death into ourselves because we're still dealing with something that happened way back there. He beat on me when I was 14. You 55 years old. Let's go. Okay. He beat on you. I get you. That was bad. What can I do to help you right now? On my wall right now, it says, Keith, what are you working on today that is connected to your one thing? And what is my one thing? Okay, I'm glad you asked. It's right above it. Keith, what is your one thing? I am a crisis specialist. So right under it, Keith, what are you working on today that is connected to your one thing? Right to the right of that. What one thing can I do such by doing it makes everything else easier or unnecessary? That's the book, The One. I was reading it for my business cohort. Shout out to Glenn P. Brooks Jr. But it's very important. If you do not, same as living rent-free in their heads. Yes, listen. When you allowing somebody to hurt you that you're no longer connected to, why would you give somebody that power? Because you didn't deal with the hurt. And I get it. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm built for. I'm built for this. My humor, my large shoulders, my ability to practice empathy. Well, I don't do sympathy. I don't do sympathy. I practice empathy, though. I put myself in other people's shoes all the time. And when you say, well, you should sympathize with them, I understand what they're going through. But no, I'm not going to take on that pain. I'm going to fight. I'm going to help them fight through it. Because at the end, you still got to do something. Whether I sympathize with them or not, at the end, you got to do something. You got to make a move. Michelle says, I used to be depressed due to my domestic violence situation. I learned to use my pain for good and be grateful. I went through it, so I was able to help others. Your enemy will be your footstool throughout. Yes, and if that's where faith comes in big, Michelle. But for you guys that may not be connected to faith, because faith is a wonderful tool to help hold you down. It helps anchor you when you feel lost. But if you're not into the religion thing, I got you. Here's the thing. I was telling this to my daughter tonight. We're talking, see? And I said to her, you know, stress is, we talked about she wasn't going to let stress kill her. I said, no, you're not supposed to let stress kill you. But did anybody know that there is good stress? And I taught this in class. It's called eustress. Eustress and distress. Eustress, distress. Give you an example. Alarm clock goes off, right? That is the stressor. If you jump out of bed and go, let's go, world, y'all in trouble today. That's eustress because you took it as a positive. You jumped up, you did something. But now alarm clock goes off. Same stressor. Damn, I ain't got enough sleep. Wow, why the alarm clock so loud? I gotta. Distress. If you keep letting that needle move more and more into the distress area, your blood pressure goes up, you could die. But eustress, and you can look it up, eustress and distress. It is the body's reaction to a stressor. Stress should not be the thing that kills you because you can control it. If I set the alarm clock, or stress is going to happen around you, but you can turn it into positive energy. There's always an opportunity to learn from anything that has happened in and around your life if you allow yourself to do it. And that is all self-love. I keep saying self-love is self-aware. Once you are aware of what you need, then you can actually start to feel the things that's going to give you the love that you need. But you have to make yourself aware, and you have to be honest with yourself, or have somebody in your life who's going to be honest with you, accountability person, and say, hey girl, let me ask you a question. How my breasts look? Saggy. How could you say that? Because you asked me. And you need to stop hanging them out like that because they're not cute. You don't think this is sexy? No, not at all. And no matter how tight you make that bra, come on girl, it ain't working. All right, girl, listen, and if you look in the mirror and go, I guess, ooh, you right, look at that. Yo, fam, how I look at this? Like a damn fool. Take that off, bro. What? This ain't hitting? Come on, man, you 50. You trying to act like you 20? Take that off, man, stop. You like your grandson. Oh, you hating. Hating what? You asked me. So, having an accountability partner only works if you allow it to actually hit home. But you have to be self-aware to be, you have to be self-aware to have self-love. You have to. All right, let's move on to number 4. I hung out with a lot of women back in my days. You know the things that y'all women say, sometimes y'all be forgetting. My aunts, let me back it up. My aunts would forget that I was in the room when they would be having conversations with each other. And I literally be like, girl, I think my arm's getting fat. Girl, your behind been fat. You stop letting them in, and I'll be like, girl, you better stop telling that boy listening. Hell yeah, I was listening. Oh my gosh, the things y'all say to each other. And y'all say things to each other men just don't say. If men knew some of the things that women converse about with themselves, ooh, Lord. All right. All right. Let's bring this last one home. It's 10:30, so we're going to go a little bit over as we usually do. All right. Let's do the last one. And again, thank you for watching Unapologetically Keith every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9:30 to 10:30. We are talking about the 5 reasons why it's so darn hard to love yourself sometimes. So we are going to knock down the 5th one. We have went through all 4. We're going to finish this up strong. So let me get 5s in the chat room so we can discuss this last one, and then we're going to call it a night. I'm glad you guys are enjoying yourself. I hope that I brought some type of quality to your life. I appreciate you guys for showing up. I appreciate you being here. You know that. So again, Toya says number 5. Thank you, Toya. Here we go. Let's go. Number 5s. Let's put those 5s up, guys. Michelle said number 5. There it is. Let's go. Give me 2 more number 5s and I'm going to move on. I need 1 more number 5. Somebody else, give me 1 more number 5 and I'm going to move on. Let's go. There we go, Kim. Thank you so much. All right, number 5. Conflicts with people in your life. Here we go. Conflicts with people in your life contribute to why you feel bad about yourself. Conflicts, which we've covered tonight. Conflicts with people in your life contribute to why you feel bad about yourself. Differing personality styles are in my experience, the main reason for interpersonal conflicts. If people in your life are different or even opposite styles, they think differently, do things differently, and feel differently than you. You may think you are doing things all wrong. In fact, some styles are very quick to judge and tell you to change because they think you have it all figured out. Lord knows we have all been there. Because a family member, a mother, father, sister, brother, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, sister of the boyfriend, sister of the girlfriend, whoever, start to tell you that who you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it is wrong, that you literally start to accept that as gospel, and you start to change you, and you literally stop loving you because somebody else's style doesn't match with yours. Also, they don't love themselves, so they now have gotten you to accept their positioning. You took the bait, now you're not loving yourself. Hence, we know misery loves company. Second guessing. Very right, Toya. Misery loves company. And when people are miserable, they don't find joy in somebody else being happy. They want other people to feel the same way they feel. And they will literally tell you, if you can get close to them, they'll say, well, I ain't happy. Why should anybody else be happy? Because if I ain't happy, I don't care. And you literally will see people go out and try to destroy the lives of other people, the loves of other people. I have seen people literally try to destroy relationships simply because they seem happy and that person isn't. They don't find joy in anything. Oh, what a wonderful day. It might rain. Oh my God, they having fun over there. They could be shooting. Oh my God, listen to that music. Oh, that sucks. I don't like that song. Oh my God, Cardi's getting divorced. It's good. She nasty anyway. Family are the worst. Yes. You know why family's the worst, Kim? Because they know more about you. And it hurts some family members when you do well. I was the first of my family to get a degree. And of course, I was the first to get multiple degrees. That didn't sit well with a lot of folks in my family. And it's okay. I don't mind being a black sheep. I'm not invited to anything. It's okay. I ain't coming. Because once I started to make moves, there's just certain things that wasn't fun for me. And certain friends, once I made the change that I made in my life, there was just certain people I couldn't hang out with. So I don't worry about it. And I don't let the words, I worry about how Tiff feels. I worry about how my daughter feels. Outside of that, I'm not stressing. You could tell me, I've had people tell me, don't do this. Well, Keith, if you would just tone this down a little bit. If you would just take your cross off when you come into work. If you would take your earrings out of your ears. And, you know, you shouldn't be so loud and you shouldn't be this. Okay. Sucks to be you. But I'm going to do me. And Yeah, I ain't coming. Listen, I ain't worried about it. And let me tell you something about family. Please get this understood. You don't ever have to do anything for family unless you choose to, because you should never go over the cliff for family just because y'all are family. If a person wants to go out and destroy themselves, see ya. Family does not have the right to destroy you simply because they're family. Simply as put. Oh my God, he got locked up. We got to start getting bail money. No. He's going to have to hold that if he's wrong. Because again, we have to be careful that we allow the love that we have for family to be exploited because they're family. Especially when it's things you wouldn't allow anybody else to do that you claim to love as well. You don't get a pass just because we have the same blood. No. Good try, though. I'm a middle child. When I retired at 52, I was a retired BITCH. Meanwhile, both sisters still work. Hey, listen. Let them hate. I got two sisters. I talk to one and don't talk to the other. Do I wish the other one? I'm the oldest. The middle one I don't talk to. Listen, she got her own issues. I pray for her, and that's it. Leave it alone. I leave it alone. I don't lose any sleep over it either. And the reason why is she made certain choices in her life to go in certain directions. I'm not rocking with that. So it is what it is. Go do you. And you got to be comfortable, because once you know you, what's going on, Flex? Once you know you, once you love you, there's going to be people you can't make happy, because making them happy would automatically make you unhappy. And the one thing you do not do is subject yourself to unhappiness just to make somebody else happy. That sucks. You don't do it. Your children, a little bit different. You can have that conversation. But even with your children, there's got to be a line that you go, no, just because you're my child don't mean I'm jumping off no cliff if you out here acting stupid. But with family members not loving you for whatever, you got to love you. There you go, Flex. And you got to say that, guys. You got to hear yourself say that. I love me. I'm quite arrogant with myself. I love me. A handsome dude. Let me go in there and knock down this beard a little something and let me clean up a little bit. You be like, yeah, that's a handsome big man. No, I'm a handsome man. I just happen to be a big man. Don't try to put me in that box. Some smaller dudes don't look this good or this intelligent. You damn right I said it. What? What? I hold my own against anybody. In any forum. Let's go. And don't let there be some women around. Let's go. I ain't that man, though. I like to sit up in the cheap seats and go, ooh, y'all got the game all messed up. So the idea, guys, there you go. You got to say you love yourself. It starts with you. Remember, self-aware is self-love. Self-aware. Be aware of what you need to hear from yourself to be able to feed that into yourself. Again, we all know that love starts at home. You cannot have somebody love you if you're not willing to love yourself. T to the Y says, for some reason, people include family thinking being successful is a sign of betrayal. Listen, you know what it is? Because the haves and have-nots is real. And if you ever listen to athletes, which I've been around a ton, they always feel that they had to take care of all these family members who showed up when they signed their contract. Moms, yes. Dad, yes. Everybody else, listen, come to the party. You ain't getting nothing else. It is not your job to take care of everybody just because we have the same bloodline. No. You do not have to do that. If you choose to, yes. Because sometimes, and this is what I want folks to understand, that sometimes by failing, by reaching a point where you have nothing, skills that you did not know you have are activated. Some of the greatest men and women who have ever walked this planet became that after they failed. And if you prevent that failure, you may be preventing one of the greatest turnarounds that the world has ever seen. So the idea is you cannot allow, and I'm not saying just let people fail for the sake of failing, but none of it's going to subject you to a point that you don't need to be at. And that's where you have to make the decision for yourself. You know what love is to you, or at least you should. And understand that you don't allow yourself to get sucked into something that's not going to take love out from you, squash it, so somebody else can feel good about themselves. Man, deuces. And go on about your business. You ain't got to talk to me. And family is not just blood. Don't get it twisted. like-minded folks can become a family. A lot of my LGBTQ brothers and sisters have stated on the record that their families are other folks who are like-minded, who are accepting of who they were and why they were, and that was more of a family than any of their biological families could ever be. And when you look up the definition, when you come with a group of folks who are like-minded, you can become a family. So don't ever get yourself twisted into believing that you have to do anything with family simply because y'all are blood. How somebody treats you will let you know how they feel about you. Love ain't supposed to hurt. Now, you guys that have not seen the domestic violence shows that we did should go back. We talked about that often, that love does not hurt like that. Love is not supposed to hurt. It's supposed to enhance you. And that enhancement starts at home. You have to enhance yourself first, and then the world will be like, why she shine like that? Why he smile like that? You know how many times at book events when Tiff and I, when things are slow and we're laughing and joking and playing and everything else, that people come over and say, I know you know who Mr. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kim, I know you know. And do you know how many times that they would come over and just be like, y'all are having so much fun. How long y'all been married? And at that point we hadn't been married as long. Because people can sense love. They can see it. They can feel it. It causes a natural reaction in somebody. Now, it's not always a positive one. And there are some people that just walk around, they're so bitter. And it's like, how do you carry such negative energy all the time? And in my mind always goes, so how do you get intimate with that type of bitterness? Yeah, I'm turned on. Yeah, thank you. I like the way you kissing me. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Yeah, just like that. Ooh. Ooh. Iceberg Jones. It takes more energy. Yes, it does, Toya. And thank you, Tony. It does. And I mean, just bitter every day. And it's crazy because you really start to feel bad for them. And the crazy part is that when you really love yourself, you almost want to find a way to take part of the love you have for yourself and just pass it on to them. Yeah, God is love, but not everybody believes in God, Flex. So what do? How do we pass that on? We have to show them in our actions, which God tells us to do anyway. Be living examples of the love that we say we have for the Lord, and that attracts people to go, how are you able to stay so... We just had the 9/11 tribute. I was in the classroom during the 9/11. A lot of the other teachers said, Belvin, how are you able to laugh and joke during these times? I said, I have to. These kids need us to be who we are. Now, inside, I was dying because nobody knew what was going on, and we knew that people were dying. You have to. Even now, I didn't cry when my mother passed. I was emotional, but then you know what? I prayed because I was listening. They were working on it. I prayed, but once God rendered his decision, okay, it's time to go on because I know what she would have wanted from me. And I don't dwell on the dead. And again, I'm not knocking anybody that do. I don't do the go to the cemetery things. I don't do none of that. When they're gone, they're gone. My job now is to be who I know they would want me to be. Show you better than I can tell you. That's an old school line right there, Flex. See, anybody over 45 know what that means. I can show you better than I can tell you. And most time when you hear that, you're about to get slapped. I don't care if it's an older female or an older dude. When you hear, I can show you better than I can tell you, you know it's coming. You're about to get or you might get cut. So for all the young folks that might be on this stream here, if you hear an old person say, I can show you better than I can tell you, you might want to get out of arm's distance because you might get cut or hit with something. Trust me when I tell you. But really, guys, honestly, so with my mom passing in June, I realized that the only regret that I have is that I was in Delaware and not in New York, so I couldn't have seen her before she went. It ain't my... That's it, Kim. Nothing wrong with that, too. And that's a good thing, too. I like the fact that Kim said my mantra. And that's another thing that's beautiful, guys. You should have some words that just trigger you positive and whatever way. Like me, I'll say, let you tell it, or if you say so. I don't get into arguments. Like when people get online, they write a whole gigantic paragraph. Keep, you know what I put? Okay. Or K. That's all you got to say? Yes. You're not going to suck me into your foolishness. Why? Because you want to get on a long social media rant? Okay. You can't make me debate you. Or when somebody does a whole lot, let you tell it. Okay. Sound good. That's the other one. Sounds good. Because at the end of the day, if you're not going to do nothing, then all you're doing is chatting. Folks be going to... Exactly. I had a person write what looked like a 5-page letter on social media because of something I said. I said, okay. If that's how you feel. I know you ain't got no comeback. Okay. That's why with politics, I find it funny. People be adamant. Make America great again. Okay. Like I know who you voting for. Okay. On my way home from the lanes. Okay, man. Be safe, Brother Flex. Be safe. Hope you bowl well tonight. Just like the political thing, I find it interesting because I'm an independent. I don't care about the left or the right. All I listen to is who is going to put me in the best position to make money and to protect my family and those I love. I can care less because they all crooks to me. And people really say, you think that? Yes, I think they all crooks. You can't tell me how I feel. I'm telling you. Good night, Tony. I know you was trying to leave early. You hung out with us. Thank you so much, love. I appreciate you. Get some rest. Tell your husband I said hello. Enjoy yourself tonight. And Flex, drive safe. All right, guys. It's almost, it's quarter. It's almost 10:02. I'm going to call it a night. You know, I never stay on to exactly 10:30. But I hope that the list has been helpful to you. And as I say all the time, you guys know that I'm a crisis specialist. What that means is I am here to help you deal with the problems that you have. If you need me, if you need somebody to talk to, if you're going through something and you want to set up an opportunity to talk to me, reach out. This is what I do. I do this for a living, and I make it a habit to try to search and find things that are going to help me help other people, because in these very difficult times, we have to find ways to be able to get past the things that we are dealing with. And often there is my information. Oh, wrong one. That's the wrong one there. That should be B-I-T. I don't know why it switches to B-U-T. But we have to find ways to be able to deal with the things that we are dealing with. And often we keep things in because we don't realize that there are things out here that can help us, or people out here that can help us. But here's what I've learned, and here's what I know to be true. I can't help you. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Kim, who's going to do the less damage to me and my family? Exactly. That's it. All the time. But what I put up there is my link to my coaching site. If you need somebody to talk to, reach out or pass that on to somebody and say, if you need to talk, reach out to that guy. I'm still filling spots. I have quite a few. I got a handful. Because after I get to a certain point, I have to hold off, because then I'm cutting into time with my family. And even though I'm making money, it's still, I got to make sure I have time for Tiff and the baby. And so the goal, guys, is like anything else. Make sure that you know that there's someone out here who can help you, whether it's me or somebody else. Do not suffer in silence. Do not sit and be in pain. Thank you, Ebony. I appreciate that. Do not suffer in silence. So I'm here. So Friday, me and Tiff may talk about the Cardi B's divorce. Not that it's news, but we just want to talk about how it got to that point when she had already felt that something was wrong, but she gave it a shot. And as two people who have dealt with that, we may talk about it Friday. I'll see. I might put a question up in the group to see how you feel. But we're thinking about talking about Cardi B's divorce, because I hope that people can see past the initial and don't attack her. Because I think she's been in pain for some time, and I think folks are not paying attention to it. And for somebody who's trying so hard, I'm debating Kim only because if it's something that you guys want, I'll gladly do it. I think folks are a little more comfortable and they ain't got to be seen. Not that I'm knocking Monday, but I don't know, because I know all of a sudden we didn't have, everybody kind of fell off. I had you 5 guys, I think it was like 5 or 6. So I'm not sure if folks they really want to be seen this time of night. I think they like to be able to lounge on their phone. So I'm going to see. But I'm definitely going to have breakout sessions if there's any particular thing, because I know there's a couple people that want to talk about different things. So I am going to have Zoom sessions for a small amount, but for particular subjects, and we're going to have those conversations. So yes, to your answer for that long yes. So yes, we are. But I may not do the regular show that way like I did on Monday, but there may be breakout sessions to have, because I'm definitely interested in connecting with everybody in the group if I can, and being able to deal with the problems that people have here. I have had a couple of members of the group reach out and work with me, and that's another good thing. I'm here for that. So again, this is what we do here. So again, guys, I want you to have a wonderful night. Thank you. I'm glad that I was able to do something for this hour and a half, whatever it is. So Tiff and I will be on Friday. You're welcome, definitely. Tiff and I will be on Friday. We're going to figure out what we're going to talk about. But the Cardi thing we might talk about, because I just have a sense that there's so much more to her, but I think she clings to what she knows and what works. And then because she made a lot of money, it makes it very difficult. But I just sense that there's so much more to her if she would allow herself to just explore it. But in this world, when people are making money, it's very difficult. So unfortunately, it looks like after 3 years, they're going to file for divorce. So, well, she's filed for divorce. Only the brave. Yeah, that's it, Kim. But it's sad because she's talented for what she does. Now, I may not be a Cardi fan in terms of just some of the stuff I hear, but I'm 52 years old. She's not making it for me. But I think the effect that she has and how she's now looking at the politics, looking at certain things as a parent, not so much as an entertainer, has the potential of really opening up eyes of some young folks. And I think that's something that we could actually have a conversation. But we'll see what happens on Friday. Guys, it has been a pleasure. Have a wonderful night. I will talk to you soon. God bless. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight.